Okay, be honest. Have you ever checked someone's phone not because you had proof, but because you felt something?
We're starting like this? No warm-up, no greeting, just straight to problems?
No time to waste today. This one is serious. Because people don't like to admit it, but jealousy? It's everywhere.
You're right. It is everywhere. Not just in relationships, but also in friendships, even at work.
Exactly. So the real question is jealousy normal? Or is it a red flag?
Hmm. I already know people will fight in the comments.
Good. That means they're listening. Hi, guys. Welcome back to English with Ruth. If this is your first time here, we have real conversations that help you improve your English and think deeper about everyday life. I'm Ruth.
And I'm Sam. Today, we're talking about something very real and quite uncomfortable. That feeling you don't want to admit, but you've definitely felt before. Jealousy.
Be honest, Sam. Have you ever been jealous?
Of course. I'm human, you know. If you say you've never been jealous, you're either lying or you're not paying attention to your feelings.
You're right. So you think jealousy is normal?
I think the feeling is normal, but the actions that come from it, that's where problems start.
Okay, let's slow down. What exactly is jealousy?
Simply put, jealousy is when you feel afraid of losing something or someone to another person.
Would you say it's connected to fear?
It definitely is. It's connected to fear and insecurity.
Let's break that down. Insecurity means you don't feel confident. You don't feel safe in something.
Exactly. So when you feel insecure, your mind starts creating stories.
Stories like,
The classic ones being, she's probably talking to someone else. He likes her more than me. I'm not enough.
wow, that last one hits.
The last one is the real root of jealousy most times. It's not even about the other person. It's usually about how you see yourself.
Okay, let's make this practical. Imagine this situation. You're in a relationship, your partner is laughing and talking with someone else. Just normal conversation, nothing serious. But suddenly, you feel uncomfortable.
I know this all too well. Your chest tightens a bit.
Yes, and your mind starts working overtime. You start watching them closely, noticing every small detail.
And then you start asking yourself, how long have they been talking? Why is he smiling like that?
And before you know it, you're already upset. Meanwhile, nothing has actually happened. So the question is that feeling wrong?
I wouldn't say it's wrong. I'd say it's information.
Information?
Yes, your emotions are telling you something. The problem is, most people don't stop to ask, why do I feel this way?
You mean sometimes it's a cause for concern?
Not exactly. It may or may not be a cause of concern, but it'll be wrong to jump into conclusions at that moment because of how we're feeling.
It can be hard to fight off jealousy.
Oh, I know that, Ruth. But what if you're wrong? You could lose something or someone valuable.
You're right. Okay, this is where it gets tricky. Because some people say, if you love someone, you should be jealous.
I don't fully agree with that.
Why not?
Because love and control are not the same thing.
Say that again.
Love and control are not the same thing. However, so jealousy can become control very quickly.
Give me an example.
Someone feeling jealous might say, "Don't talk to that person. Why are you wearing that?" Or maybe even, "Send me your location."
Now it's no longer just a feeling.
Exactly. It becomes behavior. And that's when it can become toxic. Because instead of dealing with your insecurity, you try to control the other person.
Hmm. I think that's why it can be easy to find oneself in toxic situations. If a harmless feeling like jealousy can easily turn into control and toxicity, we would need to pay more attention to how people act when jealous.
Exactly. Because jealousy in itself isn't such a strange emotion. It's a normal human emotion we all feel, and it's not inherently bad, even though it has a negative connotation to it. It's what people do with that feeling that makes all the difference.
Okay, but let me challenge you. What if someone says, I'm only jealous because I care?
That one sounds nice, but it can be dangerous.
How?
Because people use that sentence to excuse bad behavior.
So, you're saying caring doesn't justify controlling.
Exactly. You can care about someone and still respect their freedom. That's actually the best way to go. However, when someone becomes limiting, that's usually a big indication that something is terribly wrong.
Hmm. I feel like some people won't like this.
That's fine. Sometimes the truth is uncomfortable.
Let's pause here. We've said jealousy is normal as a feeling, but it can become unhealthy through actions.
And most of it comes from insecurity, not the other person.
But here's the real question we haven't answered yet. How do you know when jealousy is reasonable and when it's a problem? Because sometimes your feeling is actually correct, and sometimes it's just your fear talking.
Okay, let's be honest again. Not all jealousy is insecurity, because sometimes something actually feels off for a reason. And the hard part is knowing the difference.
So let's start here. When is jealousy actually valid?
I'll say this clearly. Jealousy is valid when there is real evidence, not just imagination.
Could you give an example?
Okay, if your partner is hiding their phone, lying about where they are, or maybe even suddenly acting differently, then your feeling is not coming from nowhere.
So your body is reacting to patterns.
Yes, your brain is noticing changes, even before you fully understand them.
That makes sense. Because sometimes people say, I just had a feeling.
And sometimes that feeling is based on small things you've noticed over time.
So jealousy can be like a warning system?
Exactly. Like an alarm.
But alarms can also go off for no reason.
Yes, that's the problem.
So how do you know if it's a real alarm or a false one?
Ask yourself one question. Do I have proof or just a story in my head?
Hmm, that's deep.
Because your mind is very creative. It can take a small situation and turn it into a full movie. Let's give an example. Your partner replies late to your message,
Which is a simple situation.
but your mind says, they're ignoring me. They're with someone else. They don't care anymore. Meanwhile, they could just be busy. Your brain doesn't wait for facts. It fills in the gaps.
So jealousy grows in uncertainty?
Yes, when there is no clear information, your mind creates its own. And this is where people start acting out, like checking phones, asking too many questions, or starting arguments over small things.
And the other person is confused, like, where is this coming from? Because in your mind, it's big. But in reality, it might be nothing. You know, I feel like there are different types of jealous people.
Definitely.
Let's break it down.
Okay. Type 1. The silent jealous person.
Ah, the dangerous kind.
You can say that again. They don't say anything, but they're watching everything. They notice small details, they overthink, and they build resentment quietly. Until one day, they explode.
And everyone is shocked because it takes them by surprise.
You're right. Type 2 is The expressive jealous person.
The direct opposite of the quiet type.
Exactly. They immediately ask, "Who is that? Why are you doing that? Explain this." No filter at all.
Which one do you think is worse, the quiet or the expressive?
Honestly, both have problems. The silent one suffers inside. The expressive one creates pressure outside.
So one damages themselves, the other damages the relationship.
Exactly.
I'm curious, Sam. Where does jealousy actually come from?
I'll say three main things: insecurity, past experiences, fear of loss. Insecurity is simple. You don't feel like you're enough.
So you're always comparing yourself?
Yes. Am I better than that person? Why would they choose me?
What about past experiences?
If you've been hurt before, you expect it to happen again. So even in a new relationship, you're reacting to the past because you're not seeing the present clearly.
How about fear of loss?
That one is powerful. When you value someone or something highly, you're afraid to lose them.
You're saying jealousy can come from love?
Yes, but it becomes unhealthy when fear is stronger than trust.
Interesting. But here's the real question we need to answer next. Can you control jealousy? Or will it always control you? Because some people say, this is just how I am. And that mindset can destroy relationships.
You're right. That mindset can destroy relationships. You may not control the feeling, but you can always control your reaction.
Let's make this practical. What should someone do the moment they feel jealous?
First step, pause.
That sounds simple, but not easy.
It's actually not easy at all. Because when jealousy comes, it's fast. But instead of reacting, you pause, even if it's just for a few minutes.
What does that pause do?
It gives you space to think clearly, stopping you from acting on emotion alone. Next step is to question your thoughts.
Meaning?
Ask yourself, is this fact or is this my imagination? That question alone can change everything, because most jealous thoughts are not based on facts.
They feel real, though.
Very real, but feelings are not always truth. Next is to communicate.
This is where many people get it wrong.
Yes, instead of communicating, they accuse. Like saying, for example, "Why are you talking to that person? Who were you with?" And that sounds aggressive.
So what's a better way?
Instead of saying, "You're making me jealous," you could say, "I felt uncomfortable earlier, and I want to understand why."
That sounds calmer.
Yes, it opens a conversation, not a fight. And finally, let's be honest. Sometimes the problem is not the relationship, it's you.
That's hard to hear, but it's true.
It is true, which is why working on yourself is very important.
So what does working on yourself mean here?
By improving how you see yourself, so you're not constantly comparing yourself to others. The more you compare, the more insecure you feel. And the more insecure you feel, the more jealous you become.
That makes so much sense. So, let's bring everything together. Jealousy is normal, but it can become unhealthy or a problem. And the difference is how you handle it.
So if you've ever felt jealous, you're not a bad person, you're human. But you also have a responsibility to grow.
That brings us to the end of today's episode. Let us know in the comments. Do you think jealousy is normal? Or do you think it always leads to problems? If you like this video, kindly subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. See you next time. Bye!